Healing of the body and healing of the soul. The Jewish world at large at that time suffered from two kinds of troubles, spiritual and material. They suffered spiritually because the majority of them were ordinary, uneducated people and looked down upon and spurned by the educated minority. And they suffered materially because they or their parents had mostly fled from the Cossack pogroms of the years 5408 to 5409, 1648 to 1649, and were still not settled economically. The bloody tragedy of these years, when masses of Jews were slaughtered and many Jewish communities were destroyed, brought about that hundreds and thousands of Jews had to flee from the villages and townlets where they had no protection and take refuge in the larger towns. This caused an overcrowding of the towns and much unemployment, as there was not enough jobs or other means of running a living for everybody. Many Jews suffered hunger and did not know which way to turn to solve their dilemma. The Baal Shem Tov began his work in the year 5470, 1710, over 60 years after the aforementioned bloody years, during which period the position of the Jews had not improved either spiritually or materially. The Baal Shem Tov realized that, first of all, the Jews must be provided with the means of running a living. Consequently, with the help of his secret followers, he started a strong campaign in Podola and surrounding provinces, urging the Jews to leave the large towns and to settle in the smaller towns and villages and take up manual and agricultural work. If one had not the possibility of procuring a sizable piece of land, he had to satisfy himself with an allotment where he could grow greens and vegetables, or breed poultry or cattle. The mystics not only encouraged the unemployed Jews in the towns and townlets to commence a new life, a productive, self-supporting life based on the labor of their own hands, but themselves showed an example how to proceed on the suggested lines. That is why so many of the mystics became manual and agricultural workers, with Lubavitch, as one of the points where Jews could take up such occupations at the time, becoming a center of mystics who were all, or nearly all, disciples or followers of the Baal Shem Tov. This was carried out in accordance with the Baal Shem Tov's policy that the first duty for himself and his followers was to heal the Jewish body, and then to set about healing the Jewish spirit and the Jewish soul. For this reason, the Baal Shem Tov's activities were divided into two phases. Firstly, through the yet unrecognized mystics, he devoted himself to the Jewish body, and secondly, as the world revealed Baal Shem Tov, he occupied himself with the great task of caring for the spiritual welfare of the Jews and healing of their souls. The Baal Shem Tov's activities in the first years were entirely devoted to the ordinary folk, while in the latter years he devoted his attention also to the scholars and men of loftier souls.